For Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser continuing the 2024 bracket predictions with Division II Select. 24 teams in, 8 with first-round byes, led by top-seeded Archbishop Shaw, and going down the bracket, 8th-seeded John F. Kennedy, 5th-seeded Madison Prep, 4th-seeded Haynes Academy, undefeated right now, 3rd-seeded E.D. White, 6th-seeded Vanderbilt Catholic, 7th-seeded Leesville, and 2nd-seeded U-High are the 8 teams with a bye. Obviously, U-High, we're waiting to see what happens with some litigation there regarding an LHSAA ruling right before the playoffs, and so that'll be kind of an off-the-field story we're watching. But a lot of great football ahead in this bracket. And in terms of our predictions, we start with a Laranja win, Lake Charles College Prep win, St. Charles Catholic, the Division III runners-up from a year ago, now up in Division II, Estruma with a win in an interesting 13-20 matchup with Booker T. Washington Shreveport. We've got Livingston Collegiate in an all-New Orleans matchup advancing, St. Michael the Archangel, Loyola Prep, and Booker T. Washington New Orleans pulling an 18-15 upset over Buckeye. On to the quarterfinals in our predictions. We have a really interesting matchup if we end up getting it in 2nd-seeded U-High and 7th-seeded Leesville with the prolific running back Xavier Ford and the Wampus Cats advancing. We have a quarterfinal rematch on the Bayou of E.D. White and Vanderbilt Catholic, the 3 and 6 seeds. Madison Prep and Estruma, a big Baton Rouge matchup. If Madison Prep in particular can get past that always tough St. Charles Catholic team, and then Shaw and JFK, another all-New Orleans matchup, advancing to the quarters, a rematch of a playoff game a year ago. Predicted Shaw and Madison Prep to push on to the semifinals in the top half of the bracket, a 1 seed versus a 5 seed, 2 battle-tested teams that have played some really tough schedules to this point and are rolling at the right time. And then E.D. White and U-High on to the semifinals, a rematch of a state championship game just a couple of years ago, and some teams that have seen each other a few times through the years. Predicting E.D. White and Archbishop Shaw getting to the Superdome, which would be a really fun matchup for those two Southeast Louisiana teams to get to that point. Not as familiar with that run in recent years as some of the other programs in here, like the U-Highs and Madison Prep and St. Charles Catholic. We have Archbishop Shaw in what would be their first trip to the Superdome since 2008, winning their first state championship since 1987. Under legendary coach Hank Tierney, super talented team. Obviously, the Michigan commits Jasper Parker and Jacob Washington, and that list goes on. But good luck to all 24 teams, and thank you all for tuning in.